Hello learners, welcome to Learn to Empower. In this video, we'll be looking into the section of ethics, that is we are dealing with the first unit. In this first unit, we are going to look in this video that is regarding the human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. Now, the UPSC has included this part in the section to understand the real life examples of the people who actually worked in the ethical manner, right? Actually, while studying the lives and integrities of those people, that we'll get to understand how the ethical values is actually upholded in the real life situation, right? These leaders actually faced with the real life situation dilemmas. How come they overcame with the ethical dilemmas, and how they able to achieve a standard of ethical values, right? In this, first and foremost, we are looking into the integrity and honesty. Whenever we mention the most integral person, we definitely remember it is Mahatma Gandhi. If studied our Indian history, definitely you will come across that Mahatma Gandhi's role, that how he non-violently fought against the British. At all circumstances, at all the ways, he followed the principles of non-violence, which is he got imbibed from the teachings of Jainism, that is Ahimsa. Right, this is a non-violence resistance he has done. The term that he used is satyagraha, where he always followed the system of non-violent way of achieving the independence. Right, and moreover, he also emphasized on the values of truthfulness and integrity. If you read his autobiography, that is My Experiment with the Truth, right, you will get to understand how he was actually struggling, how he was actually making efforts for following the ethical values in all ways. Right, now the next and foremost important person, that is Satyendra Dubey. Right, this person name is actually mentioned in your second ARC report, that is Ethics in Governance, that is the fourth report of second ARC. Right, now he is an Indian Engineering Service Officer because he was actually involved in the National Highway Authority of India in the construction of Golden Quadrilateral, that is a highway project that was constructed across connecting all the major cities in India. Right, in this process, he able to identify certain corruption activities taken by the building contractors, that they were using the substandard materials for the construction, right? But he was able to do certain whistleblower activities, and he started exposing the work that is done by the substandard, but tragically he was died. But following sometimes ethical values, you might end up in a situation where your personal life has to compromise. But these teachings of these people actually helps us to understand how difficult and how important to follow the ethical values. Now the second and the third is the Kailash Satyarthi. Anyhow, we have discussed Kailash Satyarthi's example in the last videos. And one more important personality, that is Bablu Murmur. Right, these people are the Indian social activists, and they've actually worked for the people who are in the field of human trafficking. How they were able to save the child. You might have seen the Kailash Satyarthi's organization, that is Bachpan Bachao Andolan, etc., how they have worked for the welfare of the child, you can understand. Now, Edward Snowden, he is a US citizen. He actually worked in National Security Agency of US, right? And once upon a time, he found out that the National Security Agency actually involved in the mass surveillance of their own people. He faced with the dilemma whether he need to expose this to the public or not, but he chose to expose his the ethical values, and he chose to expose the unethical practices done by the National Security Agency. And finally, the people of USA got to the truth how their own agency is actually spying on them, right? And this case study was actually asked in UPSC in previous year. As a case study it was asked, right? Just look into it, how important this personality is, right? The UPSC directly asked, given in the position of Edward Snowden, what would be the consequence that you would have faced, what are the ethical dilemma that you would have faced. Now, the next and the important value is the compassion and empathy, right? Anyhow, don't worry, in the next coming videos we'll look into the definitions of what is meant by compassion, what is meant by empathy, etc. But trying for time being right now understand compassion and empathy are both integral values to each other, right? Generally we say that empathy is something that you put yourself in other shoes and understand the problem, right? That why and compassion is a higher level of empathy, right? And the important values, these are the important values. The foremost example that we remember regarding the compassion and empathy is Mother Mother Teresa. Actually dedicated her life for serving the poor and marginalized sections of the society. And the next important personality is Bindeshwar Pathak. Recently this person was passed away, but his contribution to the society is very large, that he established an organization called Sulabh International, which actually worked for the sanitation and social reform of the manual scavengers. Right? Even sometimes the government used to tie up with the organization for skill development, rehabilitation of the manual scavengers, etc. Right? Now, in the next example, we are looking into the Sonam Wangchuk. If you people actually watched the Three Idiots movie, then you will definitely understand the role played by the American. Right, as a professor, he used to work in the Ladakh region in the end of his life. In the end of the movie, right, you will understand the role played by American is nothing but the somewhere he inspired from the Sonam Wangchuk, who actually works in the Ladakh region. He established the student education and cultural movement of Ladakh, where he started imbibing the teachings to the students along with the skill development and using the resources locally available as per the geographical conditions of Ladakh. Right, he inspired many young minds over the period of time. And recently we come across one more personality, that is Harish Hande. Actually, he worked and he is also the co-founder of Selco. Selco is solar electric light company. This company actually works for the underprivileged people, especially the areas or the hamlets where the electricity is not able to reach. There, these people actually work towards establishing the solar panels, etc., for the people who have to access the electricity. In the next value that we see is that equality and justice. Right, whenever the word equality and justice, we cannot forget the role of the B.R. Ambedkar in Indian context, but in the world context we can definitely say it is South Africa's Nelson Mandela. Right, we already seen this personality's example in our previous videos, where he fought against the racial discrimination and inequality that is happening. And he was jailed for almost 30 years, and when he was released, he did not punish the white minorities that is there. Right, he became the president of USA, but he established a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to have a kind of a platform where both white minority as well as black majority can live together peacefully. Right, and the next personality, definitely it is Martin Luther King, who actually led the civil rights movement. If you remember the famous speech of Martin Luther King, he says about that one day that nobody should judge me and my children by the color of the skin, rather it was through the content and character. It was a famous speech. I have a dream, right, I have a dream one day, etc. Likewise, you can understand how these people in their real life, they were able to face this ethical dilemmas, but still they've strived to establish equality and justice and upholded the I could say upholded the ethical values. The next recently that is happening, that is the same-sex couples marriage. Even the Supreme Court has declined to give any legal recognition to the same-sex couple marriage, and you can understand it is left to the parliament to whether to make the law in line with the same-sex couple or not. But you can understand prominently the LGBTQ community movement that is happening in India. Now, the famous personality in this LGBT community is Harish Iyer, who is a prominent voice for the people, for the LGBTQ communities. Next, yesterday also we have seen one of the important personality, that is Malala Yousafzai, how she worked for the human empowerment, how she worked for the educations of the people and she is also a Pakistani activist, and she also got a Nobel Prize along with the Kailash Satyarthi. Right. Next is the Aruna Roy. As we have seen in the yesterday also, Aruna Roy is a prominent person for the implementation of RTX. She is also the founder of Mazdoor Kisan Sangathan in Rajasthan. Done. Now, the next ethical value, that is social responsibility. How the people, how the leaders are able to establish the social responsibility, or they have the social tendency towards the society. The first and foremost, again, we have seen the previous, that is the Dr. Martin Luther King, how he used his non-violent method following the paths of Mahatma Gandhi, how he able to achieve this social equality. Next, the not only the personality but also the company. The Tata Group is a very good example in India, which actually has a different arms with it, that is philanthropic arm, Tata Trust, etc., which is actually working for the welfare of the weaker section of the society through their corporate social responsibility or through philanthropic activities, etc. This is a social responsibility that a company feels, right? Whenever social responsibility comes into picture, a company which is earning the money, lot of money, as I said before, corporate social responsibility is one way in gaining the trust of the people. If you understand, the corporate social responsibility is an idea that is derived from Gandhi's way of teaching ethics, that is the trusteeship. trusteeship. Don't worry, we'll discuss the concept of trusteeship in the coming classes. But timing, understand the trusteeship concept is given by Mahatma Gandhi, where he said the rich people in the society are nothing but the trustee to the poor people, and they have to give it back to the society in one way or the other. Done. Now next is most important organization, that is Akshay Patra Foundation. This is one of the NGO that is working for the giving midday meal scheme to the people, right? And it is very important to understand, even government ties up with the Akshay Patra Foundation in providing the midday meal schemes to the underprivileged students in many parts of the hamlets where the government is not able to reach. Done. Now this is a social responsibility, and some other organizations also there, like Gonj, which is working for the menstrual cycle of the women and community development, etc., in the vulnerable part of the society. And there is one more personality, that is Elon Musk. How even though he is a billionaire now, but you can understand how his electric motors, etc., and the SpaceX reusable, he focuses on the reusable part of it, he focuses on the renewable part of it. Like somewhere he's also inspired to have a system where it should not pollute the environment, right? Now as the social responsibility is concerned, definitely we need to remember that is Dr. Vargis Kurian. He is also called as what, father of white revolution, which actually established a cooperative kind of movement in Gujarat, where he established an organization called Amul, Anand Milk Union Limited, in Anand, right? In Anand is a place in Gujarat where he gathered or he inspired poor and marginal farmers to come together and sell their milk. And now you can understand how Amul is how big in India, right? And the next important personality which has a social responsibility in them, that is the Amir Khan. If you know, the Amir Khan used to run a famous program, that is Satyameva Jayate, where he used to call a lot of people, lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of social workers to get into picture and to create awareness about the social issue that is happening in and around the world. Through his channel, he able to establish that how awareness is important in understanding the real life problems of the society, right? By this video we are coming in for the first part of our human values. In the next part we will continue with the other examples where you can understand how the human values actually helps and how we can learn from the great leaders. Till then, thank you.